Lil Durk's first night in prison wasn't just a personal turning point, it symbolized the disintegration of a legacy founded on loyalty, resilience, and renown, facing federal murder for hire charges. The Chicago rap icon found himself trapped in a system that now scrutinized his every move, from alleged betrayals within his only family, OTF Collective, to the broader implications for drill music. His incarceration has shaken the foundation of his career and the genre he helped define. Lil Durk facing danger in prison. The clank of the heavy steel door echoed through the dimly lit corridor as Lil Durk was led to his cell. The rapper, born Dirk Banks, wasn't just another inmate being processed through Broward County's notorious jail system. He was a man whose entire world had just crumbled in a matter of hours. His first night in prison wasn't just a moment of isolation, it was a harsh reality check that showed how quickly everything he had built, his reputation, his career, his very life, was at risk. Durk's arrest on federal murder for hire charges had already sent shock waves through the music industry and the streets alike. For years, he'd been celebrated as the voice of Chicago, a beacon of hope for those trying to escape the cycle of violence, but now the walls were closing in, and his first night behind bars would set the tone for a storm that threatened to unravel everything. Broward County Jail is no place for the faint-hearted. It's a system plagued by neglect and danger, where survival often depends on alliances and reputation. The announcement of Durk's arrest had spread like wildfire, and as he entered the facility, the weight of his fame became a double-edged sword. Durk refused protective custody, opting instead to join the general population. For many, this was a bold move, a statement that he wasn't looking for special treatment, but for Durk, it was also a gamble. In the main line, there's no barrier between you and the wolves, and a name as big as his can quickly make you a target. The rapper every move was being watched. Inmates whispered about the charges, allegations that he had placed a bounty on Quando Rondo's life in retaliation for the 2020 murder of King Val, Durk's close friend and only the family OTF affiliate. To some, it was a power play. To others, it was another tragic chapter in a cycle of revenge. Either way, Durk's presence in the jail wasn't just another headline, it was a potential powder keg waiting to explode. Just weeks earlier, Durk was being celebrated as a hometown hero. He had received an honorary key to the village of Broadview for his philanthropic efforts through his Neighborhood Heroes Foundation. His work had earned him praise from community leaders and even Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, who had personally met with him to discuss uplifting the city's youth. But on that first night in prison, none of that mattered. The accolades, the respect, the hard-earned image of a man trying to turn his life around, it all felt distant and fragile. Broadview's mayor wasted no time revoking the key to the city, citing the arrest as a violation of the community's moral and ethical standards. It was a public and humiliating rejection of the very image Durk had spent years crafting. Even Mayor Johnson, who had received a $150,000 campaign donation from Durk's company, faced mounting pressure to return the money. If you're asking me if I should make a judgment on a black man before a full trial has actually come to fruition, I hope you do understand why it is not my position to determine the outcome of someone's life. Suddenly, the rapper's reputation wasn't just his own, it was a liability for anyone who had stood by him. Durk's decision to remain in the general population came with hazards that extended far beyond the cell walls. Broward County's institutions have a dismal reputation. 21 inmates have died in custody since 2021. According to reports, activists like the NAACP have condemned the system's negligence, and for someone like Durk, the dangers were amplified as the hours dragged on during his first night. The reality of his situation began to sink in. He wasn't just another inmate. He was a high-profile figure whose fame made him a potential target for violence or exploitation. Every gaze from a fellow inmate, every sound echoing through the darkened prison halls, carried an edge of uncertainty. Fame, which once brought adoration and fortune, now painted a bullseye on his back. Inside those cold walls, his celebrity status meant nothing, or worse, it meant danger. Durk's supporters, loyal and vocal, took to social media, flooding timelines with messages of encouragement and solidarity. Among them was an Instagram user from @900brara who shared details of a phone call with the rapper. "He's holding up strong," they posted, trying to reassure the fan base. "He's staying focused and keeping his head up," but beneath the bravado and determined tone, there was no masking the grim reality of his circumstances. The weight of his predicament pressed heavily on his words. "I'm holding up, buddy," Durk reportedly said during the call. "Just trying to remain concentrated and keep my head up." There was resilience in his voice, but also a faint trace of weariness, a recognition of the long, arduous road ahead. He wasn't just fighting the system, he was battling to preserve everything he'd built. His music empire, his legacy, and his future all hung in a precarious balance. The first night in prison wasn't just a personal struggle, it marked the beginning of a very public unraveling. The charges against him painted a damning portrait, suggesting he remained entangled in the dangerous world he had often claimed to be leaving behind. According to an FBI affidavit, the murder for hire narrative wasn't a spur-of-the-moment act, it was allegedly meticulously plotted. Witnesses claimed that flight tickets for the supposed hitman had been purchased using credit cards linked directly to Durk's OTF collective. The allegations went beyond street-level violence. They pointed to premeditation, power, and calculated moves. For a rapper who built his career on authenticity, the accusations cut deeply. They weren't just challenging his innocence, they were attacking his identity. His music, often a raw reflection of street survival and personal struggle, was now being dissected in courtrooms, his lyrics analyzed as potential confessions of a darker reality. Every song that once resonated as a gritty testament to life's harshest truths now carried a sinister implication in the legal arena. Lines celebrated by fans as storytelling were being framed as evidence of criminal intent. Prosecutors painted a narrative of a man living a double life, a rising star in the rap industry by day, a calculated criminal by night. Durk's journey from the streets to superstardom had always been about overcoming adversity, turning pain into art. But now that same journey was being used against him, weaponized by a justice system eager to make an example of him. His music, his fame, and his past were intertwined in a web of accusations threatening to dismantle everything he had fought to achieve. As he faced endless legal battles, Durk was no longer just a rapper telling stories of survival, he was living one of the most perilous stories of his life. Behind bars, surrounded by uncertainty, he wasn't just trying to survive prison. He was fighting for his name, his freedom, and the legacy he had built from nothing. The world was watching, but inside those prison walls, all that mattered was holding on to hope, to purpose, and to the belief that his story wasn't over yet. The streets were watching, and opinions were divided. Some saw Durk's actions as a justified retaliation for King Von's death, while others saw them as a tragic failure to break free from the cycle of violence. As dawn broke on his first morning in jail, the questions looming over Lil Durk's future were impossible to ignore. Could he survive the dangers of Broward County's notorious jail system? Would he be able to clear his name and reclaim his reputation, or was this the beginning of the end for a man who had risen from Chicago's South Side to become one of hip-hop's brightest stars? The legal challenges confronting Lil Durk's arrest wasn't just a blow to his music career, it marked the beginning of a complex and dangerous legal battle that could define the rest of his life. Behind the headlines of his incarceration lies an intricate web of accusations, evidence, and potential. The mission concluded in tragedy when Lupab, a family member of Quando Rondo, was shot and murdered during the assault at a Beverly Boulevard service station. The prosecution's case is supported by a trove of evidence, much of it painstakingly cobbled together through surveillance footage, financial records, and witness testimony. Financial records, court documents reveal that credit cards linked to Durk and OTF were used to purchase one-way flights for the alleged hitman, as well as hotel rooms and rental vehicles. Text messages in a key piece of evidence, a text allegedly sent from Durk's phone to an OTF associate reads, "Don't book any flights under any names involved with me." Prosecutors argue this demonstrates an attempt to obfuscate his connection to the plot. Surveillance footage video evidence reportedly shows the suspects trailing TB's vehicle across Los Angeles in two separate cars, culminating in the fatal gunfire. Witness testimony: several witnesses have come forward, though their identities remain protected due to safety concerns. Their testimonies allegedly confirm Durk's involvement as the orchestrator of the plan. The indictment also names 5 co-conspirators who were allegedly recruited to execute the plot. Each has been charged alongside Durk, adding further layers to an already complex case. At the center of this legal battle is Durk's WAP collective, Only the Family OTF. While OTF has been Durk's artistic vehicle, providing a platform for up-and-coming Chicago talent, prosecutors contend it also operates as a gang engaged in violent offenses. The duality of OTF, a music label with profound ties to street culture, has always been part of its mystique, but in the eyes of the law, this connection now represents a liability. Prosecutors allege that OTF's resources were used to finance the homicide-for-hire plot, from travel arrangements to the acquisition of weapons for Durk. This claim strikes at the heart of his efforts to rebrand himself as more than just a street rapper. Over the years, he's worked to position himself as a philanthropist and role model, launching initiatives like the Neighborhood Heroes Foundation and collaborating with political leaders to support Chicago's youth. Now, those efforts risk being overshadowed by the darker accusations. The charges against Durk hold the potential for life-altering consequences if convicted of conspiracy to commit murder. For hire, he faces significant prison time, possibly life without parole. Additional offenses related to the use of firearms in furtherance of a violent crime bear mandatory minimum sentences. Beyond the legal penalties, Durk also risks losing his assets. Prosecutors are seeking forfeiture of any property connected to the alleged crimes, including cash, vehicles, and potentially even royalties from his music. For a man who has risen from the struggles of Chicago's South Side to become a global star, the stakes couldn't be higher. Durk's legal staff confronts a daunting challenge as they prepare to counter. The prosecution's narrative, their strategy, will presumably concentrate on several crucial areas. Questioning the evidence, the defense may contend that the prosecution's case relies heavily on circumstantial evidence and unverifiable witness accounts, challenging witness credibility given the anonymity of the witnesses. The defense could raise doubts about their motivations and reliability. Disputing intent, Durk's lawyers may contend that his financial connections to OTF do not inherently implicate him in criminal activity, highlighting positive contributions by exhibiting Durk's philanthropic efforts and community initiatives. The resistance may intend to portray a more nuanced picture of his character. Ultimately, the defense's goal will be to create enough doubt to undermine the prosecution's claims. However, that might prove difficult with the reattribution of an informant within the Durk camp, which threatens to expose his defense. Wide open, Lil Durk confronts betrayal by OTF member. When Lil Durk's legal troubles reached the spotlight, fans and critics alike were astonished by an explosive revelation. An alleged informant deeply embedded within his only family, OTF crew, had reportedly betrayed the rapper known for its tight-knit loyalty. OTF seemed impenetrable, yet the arrest of Lil Durk on federal murder for hire charges revealed cracks in the foundation, cracks that came from within. At the heart of this betrayal is OTF Jam, a longtime associate of Durk's who is accused of secretly cooperating with authorities for years. This breach of trust has shaken OTF to its core, leaving fans questioning everything they thought they knew about loyalty in the world of rap and street alliances. The revelation that an OTF member reportedly known as OTF Jam had been cooperating with authorities for years has become one of the most shocking stories in recent rap history. According to court documents, Jam had been wearing a hidden wire, providing investigators with critical evidence that ultimately led to Lil Durk's arrest. Story is one of stark contrast. After serving a 12-year prison sentence for attempted murder, he was released in 2022, re-entering a world that had changed drastically since his incarceration. Upon release, Lil Durk, who had once been a loyal friend, allegedly supported Jam financially and emotionally, reinforcing their bond. You know what I'm saying? He said, Jam, get out that jam. I give him 50. He ain't got to ask again, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? He ain't got to ask, bro. He said he gave you 50, bro. You know what I'm saying? Fact. However, reports now suggest that Jam began cooperating with federal agents shortly after his release, collecting damning evidence against his former ally. This betrayal is particularly poignant, given Jam's history with Lil Durk and OTF. The group, formed in 2010, was more than just a rap collective. It was a family forged in the crucible of Chicago's drill music scene. However, as authorities allege, OTF was more than a music label, functioning as a hybrid organization with ties to criminal activity. Lil Durk's music has often been extolled for its unvarnished honesty, chronicling the struggles and triumphs of his life. In hindsight, some of his lyrics seem to foreshadow the betrayal that would later engulf him. Tracks like Pell Coat resonate differently now, with fans speculating that Durk was alluding to internal conflicts and the perils of misdirected trust within his circle. The rapper's heightened awareness of imminent treason was evident even before his arrest. Reports of Lil Durk attempting to flee before police arrived, he suspected trouble. These events, coupled with past incidents such as the 2021 home invasion at his Brazelton, Georgia residence, create a picture of a man increasingly apprehensive of his surroundings. The L's paranoia was not unfounded. During a 2022 interview, he recounted an unsettling encounter where someone inexplicably turned up at his house, raising concerns about who within his inner circle might have been supplying information to outsiders. This incident, coupled with the betrayal by Jam, highlights the precarious balance between fame, trust, and survival in the rap industry. Even before the betrayal was publicly disclosed, rap mogul 50 Cent had offered Lil Durk some sage advice. In an interview with The Breakfast Club, 50 Cent recounted a conversation he had with Durk after their collaboration on the theme song for Power Book 444. So you just have to watch them. 50 Cent was reflecting on his own experiences with entourages and the pernicious nature of trust in the industry. The parallels between 50 Cent's past and Lil Durk's present are striking. Both artists have navigated the complexities of fame while coping with entourages that sometimes harbor covert agendas. If you got pulled over and you're not in prison, why are you not in jail? 50 quipped, underscoring the significance of challenging loyalties within one's crew. Regrettably, 50 Cent's prophetic warning came too late to prevent the betrayal that would soon unravel for Lil Durk. The advice serves as a bitter reminder of the vigilance required to navigate the intersection of music and street life. OTF Jam's alleged role as an informant has become a focal point of the indictment against Lil Durk. Reports claim that Jam provided federal agents with insider details about OT's operations, from the financial logistics of criminal activities to the coordination of violent acts. According to court documents, Jam's cooperation was instrumental in piecing together a timeline of events leading to the alleged murder for hire conspiracy targeting T.I. and Quando Rondo Bowman. The indictment alleges that Lil Durk, referred to as co-conspirator 1, used coded language to orchestrate the conspiracy, with Jam's recordings providing critical evidence. Jam's betrayal is all the more striking given his history with OTF. Interviews reveal that he once spoke fondly of Lil Durk's support during his incarceration, describing their bond as unshakable. However, this loyalty seems to have unraveled with personal grievances, such as perceived neglect by Lil Durk, potentially contributing to Jam's decision to cooperate with authorities. The betrayal has prompted passionate debates within the hip-hop community. Chicago rapper King Yella, industry veteran Wack 100, and DJ academicians are among those who have commented on the controversy. Many have speculated on the motivations behind Jam's cooperation, with some proposing it originated from financial or personal grievances. Wack 100 in particular has been vocal about the dynamics at play, questioning how loyalty can erode in high-stakes environments. Meanwhile, DJ Academics has delved into the specifics of the case, probing the possibility that Jam's actions were a calculated response to being overlooked or undervalued by Lil Durk. This division within the community highlights the broader challenges encountered by artists who straddle the worlds of music and street credibility. The line between loyalty and betrayal is often obscured, leaving artists vulnerable to the shifting dynamics of their entourages. The indictment against Lil Durk portrays a damning picture of OT's alleged activities. Prosecutors have described the collective as a hybrid organization blending elements of a legitimate music label with the operations of a criminal gang. Key pieces of evidence reportedly supplied by the informant include details about financial transactions, travel arrangements, and communications related to the alleged murder for the high plot. The indictment also emphasizes overt acts such as the procurement of firearms and the coordination of movements between locations, all of which were reportedly orchestrated with delays. Cooperation for Lil Durk. The legal battle ahead is as much about clarifying his identity as it is about confronting the betrayal that facilitated his detention. The case serves as a stark reminder of the hazards inherent in maintaining connections to street culture while pursuing mainstream success. The betrayal by OTF Jam has left an indelible mark on Lil Durk's career and the legacy of OTF, once celebrated as a symbol of unity and resilience within Chicago's drill scene. The collective is now contending with accusations of criminal activity and internal discord. What Durk's arrest means for drill rap and drill music. Once the roaring voice of Chicago streets in a genre that rattled the foundations of hip-hop now confronts an uncertain future. Lil Durk's recent arrest on federal murder charges has cast the genre's stability into doubt, potentially signaling a defining moment in its decline for a subgenre created from unadulterated authenticity, violence, and survival. The legal difficulties of its last mainstream behemoth could signify the end of an era. This isn't just about one artist, it's about the ripple effects of losing a figurehead who embodied drills. Ascend to the summit. Lil Durk, alongside pioneers like Chief Keef, carry drill rose from Chicago's communities to global prominence, but as the legal challenges against him mount, the very fabric of drill rap swings in the balance. Drill rap emerged in Chicago around 2010, spearheaded by artists like Chief Keef and Lil Durk. With its raw, visceral energy, the genre gave expression to the brutal realities of life in the city's most dangerous communities. It wasn't just music, it was a survival narrative. Chief Keef's I Didn't Like setting the tone in 2012, combining thundering rhythms with unapologetic lyrics that captured the wrath and resilience of Chicago's youth. Durk and others expanded the genre's reach, adding emotional depth and storytelling to drill's aggressive sound. From its Chicago roots, drill began to evolve. The UK embraced it, constructing a grittier version typified by darker rhythms and intricate lyricism. Brooklyn drill emerged later, fusing the genre with New York's swagger, and by the late 2010s, drill was no longer a local phenomenon, it was a global movement. But with expansion came challenges. The genre's associations with street violence drew criticism and scrutiny. The deaths of prominent drill artists like Pop Smoke, FBG Duck, and King Va underscored the dangers linked to the lifestyle the music often reflected. For many, Lil Durk represented drill's last mainstream flame bearer. His ability to navigate the treacherous waters of fame and authenticity made him a unique figure in hip-hop, but his arrest in October 2024 on murder for hire charges targeting Quando Rondo has cast a dark shadow over the genre he helped to find. Durk's legal troubles come at a time when drill rap is already showing signs of decline. Brooklyn drill has been stifled by legal battles involving artists like Chef G, Sleepy Hollow, and K-Flock in Chicago. Many of the genre's pioneers have either left music behind or faced their own legal challenges. Lil BBY transitioned to a music executive, while G Herbo's career has been interrupted by legal issues. Without Lil Durk, drill loses one of its most prominent figures. A man whose music resonated far beyond Chicago's borders, his absence leaves a vacancy that few, if any, are positioned to cover. Even before Durk's arrest, drill rap was enduring a metamorphosis. The visceral, violent narratives that defined the genre's early years have started to give way to gentler, more commercial interpretations. Artists like Ice Spice have introduced a lighter take on the genre termed seductive drill, which substitutes the menacing themes of traditional drill with frivolous, suggestive lyrics. Tracks like Munch Feeling You showcase this. evolution as artists prioritize viral appeal over the visceral aggression that desires define the genre. While this shift has brought drill new admirers, it has also diluted its essence. Jodeci recently dubbed drill the worst rap genre of all time, criticizing its splintered identity. It's drill, it's country exercise, it's beautiful drill. I'm excellent on all of them. The hip-hop legend said, capturing the anguish of those who believe the genre has lost its soul. Drill's potential collapse reflects a broader tension within hip-hop. The struggle between authenticity and commercial success. For drill, its authenticity was both its greatest strength and its biggest liability. The genre's close connections to street life made it compelling, but they also drew intense scrutiny from law enforcement and the public. Artists like Chief Keef, Pop Smoke, and King Val confronted immense pressure to balance their circumstances with their careers, often with tragic results. Durk's arrest highlights this tension. As an artist, he managed to elevate drill's sound and reach while remaining faithful to its origins, but as the legal system closes in, his struggles serve as a cautionary parable about the cost of maintaining authenticity in a world that demands compromise. Despite the challenges, some believe drill still has a future. Joe Budden recently praised Chief Keef for his ability to rebrand and distance himself from the violence associated with the genre. He took advantage of the opportunity, rebranded, and is now recognized as the godfather of Chicago drill music. Budden said during a recent podcast, Chief Keef's decision to move to Los Angeles in 2014 allowed him to escape the cycle of violence and grow both personally and artistically. This evolution offers a potential blueprint for drill survival, embracing change while preserving the core elements that make the genre unique. Artists like 41 Sugar Hill, D-Do, and Raw Swish are still active in